Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here tonight for another edition of the NASCAR Fantasy Podcast. I can't believe this. What a race at Pocono. Earlier today, I'm in my hotel room. Why is it so dark in the hotel room? Why is there terrible lighting? Because that is the only light that works in this thing. I turned the main light on. I couldn't even see getting into the room. This lamp that's right on top of me doesn't work. Here, I'm flipping the switch. On, off, nothing. That lamp doesn't work. I'm pretty sure the microwave probably won't work because everything seems to be that's plugged in on this side of the room is not working for whatever reason. And yeah, that's the only light that works. Even the bathroom light doesn't work for some reason. The light like in the bathroom itself does not work, but the light where the like the mirror and the sink is that light works. I don't know. It's wonky in here. Yeah, so it might look dark for you guys. It's pretty dark for me too. But we need to unpack everything that happened today in the Pocono Organics 325 because it was something. It was a spectacle to see in person, nonetheless. Who would have thought a Pocono race would have came down to that? I mean, that was insane. That was insane. Late night edition, by the way. I got to the hotel probably about an hour ago, but I was waiting at the racetrack. I waited out the traffic because I knew I wasn't going to. Well, first and foremost, I got to the track. I was running behind, so I forgot that uh, the state of Pennsylvania had a mask mandate going on. So the state of Pennsylvania had a mask mandate, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm probably going to need a mask. So I had to run to Walmart. Then I couldn't find the mask at Walmart. I probably spent like 20, 25 minutes in there just asked this lady. And the only thing they had were like big boxes of them. So I spent like $6 on, exactly $6 on masks at Walmart just to get to the track. And nobody's wearing them. There were a couple of people wearing them inside the facility, but they didn't check, to see if you had a vaccination or that you needed them 100%. So I ended up not actually needing the ended up not actually needing the mask in the first place. So I wasted time there. So by the time I actually like got to the track, got pulled in, parked in my parking spot. I had like 35, 40 minutes to get to my seats, and I was parked just outside of turn 3 and had to walk all the way down. I was sitting on the entrance, or sorry, the exit of pit road. So I had a long walk to where I was sitting for this weekend for both races, well, both days. So all that, factoring in, by the time I got to my seats, they were just starting the driver intros for the truck series, probably 20 minutes before the green flag. So I got to my seats in time and everything. So I was not able to like actually vlog around the racetrack today, but that'll be in tomorrow's portion of the vlog. And yeah, I got some merch. Crazy finish. Now that we have people tuning in again, late night. Sorry, but I need to get this out today because we're gonna have another predictions video tomorrow. So predictions live stream will be tomorrow morning before I go to the racetrack. I will live stream it 100%. Just like I'm live streaming right now from the hotel. It'll be brighter. I'll open up that window. Again, it is dark because that is the only light that works in this entire. That again, that light does not work. This light right here, this light doesn't work. You can hear me flipping the switch. Nothing. That light doesn't work, and I'm pretty sure the microwave doesn't work. So it's very dark in here. It's not just for you guys. So this is the best lighting I've got. But we're going to talk all things Pocono. We're going to take you to the top of the hour and go through all the predictions I had from before the race, how they ended up stacking up. And I don't even really know how the finish went. I haven't really I watched the highlights on NASCAR's YouTube channel over again, but that was pretty much about all I've done. That and listen to music while I've been trying to get everything organized here. So we'll go step by step according to Racing Reference because I did miss some of my notes while I was at the track. Because for those of you that don't know, if you go to a NASCAR race, you usually don't get any signal. Now, I will say Pocono had better signal, I think, than any other racetrack. So that was saying something good because I was able to adjust my fantasy lineup in the race. So that's good. With really no huge uploading or downloading speed. So yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in. By the way, Carson Boy, William, Kyle Larson fan, Ethan, and Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. All right, stage one. Yeah, we had a caution for debris before the competition yellow that came out at lap 9, so that ended up actually being the competition caution, but it was a caution for incident nonetheless. There was also an accident just a couple laps into the restart involving the 2 and the 41. Man, Brad Keselowski can't catch a break. I put him in the sleeper, and now again, I wouldn't even consider Brad Keselowski a sleeper, but how bad I've been harping that team, and really how bad they've been this year. Very under the radar, and how I think I'm the only NASCAR YouTuber or somebody on YouTube, maybe media head in general, that is saying, and I'm not even a big media head, but anyway, somebody within the NASCAR like YouTube slash media that is actually saying, hey, Brad Keselowski is not doing good this season, and I think we need to it's time to say this now before it looks shocking that he gets knocked out of the first round of the playoffs, because the way he's running, it's not the case. Uh, who knows what kind of a car he could have had? He had damage on the front bumper after getting into the back of the 41 of Cole Custer. That happened right in front of me. I caught the end of it on video. Like, I saw the smoke. I was actually videotaping the one way just for like a quick 3-second shot of the cars flying by after a restart. That's all I was videotaping. And then the smoke happened. Going like literally, I saw the smoke out of the corner of my eye and tried to catch everything, and I was a little late on it. So um, I do have to say, today in both the truck race and the cup race, Dover and Charlotte, so and Nashville, golly. So literally the last 4 cup races and now the truck race, the only truck race I've seen this season. I'll videotape something for the vlog and for the race highlights, and either right after I shut the camera off or my camera's in a different direction, an accident happens that I either miss it because I turned it off and I was just gonna sit and watch the next however many laps before getting more footage, or um, I still have it on, but I'm filming like a battle for the lead or something like that, and then the crash ends up happening like either somewhere else. Like in this instance, it was literally on the straightaway. I was just on the wrong part of the straightaway filming. So, uh, note to self: I'll have to keep that in mind tomorrow if the same thing keeps happening. But man, oh man, oh man. I see you guys down in the chat again. I'll try to keep up with you guys as well as getting through the highlights. Give me a second to plug my phone in. I do have to use my hotspot again because I don't believe the Wi-Fi is really up and running very well. So let me make sure my phone doesn't die. Oh, where did I put it? It's somewhere around here. You're gonna have to give me a second. You're gonna see me like scrambling around. Like, what is he doing? I'm not gonna lie. I seriously don't know where it's at. I don't know. Oh, jeez. We get live from Pocono Raceway, trying to find the charger to do live commentary of this. You guys are, oh my god, it's right here the whole time. I was digging through it and I didn't see it. I found it. I found it. I don't know how awkward that was for you guys. I hope it was very awkward, because that would at least throw some, hey, some comedy into this. He has found his charger. I'm excited. That was a great, honestly, like for a Pocono race though. That was a good race. I'm glad to say I was at I'm glad to say I was at the best Pocono race in probably the last 5 years. I think since Blaney won in 2017. I'm not saying that because I'm a Blaney fan, but I'm saying that because I thought it was an actually good race. I thought this was the best race at Pocono since that 2017 June race. But yeah, man, what a so okay. Anyway, so we were talking about Keselowski and Cole Custer. So Keselowski, what it looked like, he was going to take it 3 wide. He was going to cut down to the inside of the racetrack on the the main front stretch. And Cole Custer looked like he kind of held his line. He may have moved a little bit, but it wasn't really a block. He kind of just held his line, and Brad just mistimed it and clipped his left rear. That turned Custer into the outside wall hard. I'm surprised everybody missed him. Hard hit for Custer. Then he ends up in the inside wall at the end of it, but he gets out of his car under his own power. Really, the probably the hardest accident I think that we had today. For the most part, there wasn't any like really hard hits outside of that. But again, he was all right. Got out of the car pretty quickly, and Brad Keselowski did have some damage, but he was able to keep some speed up. He wasn't off the pace slow, but you can definitely tell that he didn't have the speed that the 12 and the 22 had. Now, granted, at the same time, too, that's been the case over the last dozen weeks, regardless of damage or not on the two car. But man, Kyle Busch, welcome to the stream. My son Braxton loves to be on my YouTube. Not a fan because I got 50 million subscribers. Okay, all right. You can calm down there, fake Kyle Busch. But anyway, that was stage one in a loop. A couple cautions, plus it was only 25 laps. Really made for not that much green flag racing in the opening stage. Ultimately, stage one went like this. Kyle Busch did get the stage win. He was able to pass. So William Byron actually took the lead. I don't think it was lap one. I think it was a couple laps into the race before they got to that lap 9 caution for debris. And then off the next restart, Kyle Busch took the lead. They got that caution. Busch was able to hold on to the lead on the restart and eventually win stage one. William Byron was second, Kyle Larson third, Joey Logano fourth, Kevin Harvick fifth, Denny Hamlin sixth, Kurt Busch seventh, Daniel Suarez eighth, Austin Dillon ninth, and Tyler Reddick rounded out the top 10 in stage number one. In stage number two, to start things off, we did have a couple cautions for incident. Actually, this was the most caution-filled stage of the three. Ryan Newman went for a spin right after he had come off of pit road, believe it or not. So I don't know if it was that he had cold tires, but literally less than 5 laps after coming off of pit road with 4 fresh tires, he loses control off turn 1 behind the race leaders, slides, backs it into the outside wall. Pretty significant damage there. He did DNF out of the race. He was not able to get that car fixed up, so tough break for him. One of only 2 DNFs here today. Again, the other one was Cole Custer. He also obviously got knocked out of the race after his stage 1 incident. Later on in the stage, in fact, on that next restart, a couple laps in, another crash down the main straightaway. This one was more towards the exit of turn 3, 3 wide towards the back of the pack between Corey LaJoie, Anthony Alfredo, and I'm not sure who the car was on the inside, but anyway, they were 3 wide. Not going to really make 3 wide off the exit of 3 at Pocono. It's the flatter of the 3 corners, and it doesn't really widen out down the straightaway until you get, well off the exit of the corner. And definitely had no room there. Maybe it was a rookie mistake by Alfredo, but I'd like to say that they were just racing for the same spot. And they got together. It was a racing deal. Again, there was somebody on the inside, so Alfredo didn't really have a lot of room in the middle to work with. And obviously, LaJoie, if he would have backed out the gas, he would have lost a lot of momentum. So you can't blame him for trying to stay in it. Unfortunately, it led to a bad finish no matter what there for LaJoie. He ended up 36th at the end of the day, and he was the only driver or I should say he was the last driver that was actually running at the end of the race in the finishing order because he was the first, first driver above, he was the driver above the 2 that DNF'd in the race. So a tough break for both of them. Not as much damage on the 38 of Alfredo. He was able to continue. And LaJoie again continued, but he was multiple laps down there to the end of the race. End of stage 2, we did have another caution with about 7 to go in the stage. Ross Chastain had gotten into the wall, I believe, off of turn 2. I noticed he was pretty slow going into turn 3, and then he ended up looping it right around. Whether it was intentional or not, we don't know. The way it looked live when it happened, it looked like he might have done it intentionally. NASCAR did throw the caution. I think that was the right move because there were a lot of cars racing to the outside of him. The reason why I wouldn't say it was intentional is because he did kind of spin into the grass. That might have given damage to the right front a little bit. It kind of looked like it dug in. It could have dug in way worse, but it did dig in a little bit. So either there was a failed attempt of spinning out when on purpose and he got extra damage than what he should have, or it was just flat out um, Inside Uranus, welcome to the stream. By the way, I just saw your comment in there. But anyway, regardless of the fact, it brought out a yellow. It ended up hurting Ross Chastain. He looked very good. It looked like the strategy play when Newman's accident happened was going to work out best for Blaney and Chastain because they were up at the front of the field there. And Blaney was able to keep his track position. He was able to stay in the top 5 all day before the 42 team. They actually had a really bad restart on that next restart. Actually fell outside of the top 10, and then eventually that tire got cut down after he had gotten into the wall. So tough break there. Chastain also finished 33rd. So not what he needed. He was closing in on that cutoff line. It was looking like he was in great position. The Ganassi cars were fast. They had top 10. Both of them had top 10 cars pretty much all day. Tough break that Ross Chastain had that happen midway through, well, late stage two. Stage two restart led with 2 laps to go, so a little green white checker shootout to the end of the stage. Kyle Larson had some fresher tires from about, what was it, sixth or seventh on back, had fresher tires. Top 5 or 6 stayed out of the pits. There were like 3 different pit strategies going on throughout the course of the race. And one of them was with Larson and a lot of the faster cars at the start of the race. Byron, Logano, well, no, not Logano. He was on it even. So Logano and Kurt Busch were on one strategy. Then you had pretty much and then you had Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch on another strategy, and then pretty much everybody else, Blaney from that caution at least that Newman brought out, Blaney, Larson, Byron, Truex, Bowman, those guys were all on a separate strategy. So you had 3 strategies going on into the final stage, which, in my opinion, I didn't think it was the greatest. Racing. It was so hard to pass. It's Pocono. You expect that, and with this package on top of it, makes it really hard. But the strategy play was very fun to watch in the stands because you didn't know what strategy was working in the midst of the race. You never know how the cautions are going to play out, obviously, and especially with today's race where we had a lot of cautions, especially in the first half of the race. You didn't know what strategy was going to work. You couldn't tell what car was exactly fastest unless they got out in front because a lot of them were back in traffic. Once Kyle Larson on that 2 lap to go restart was able to charge from 6th or 7th, wherever he was on the restart, to 2nd, right on the back bumper of Kurt Busch. Another lap, I think he would have won the stage. That would have been his 14th and the 13th and 14th of the year if he would have gotten it done. But anyway, why is there a fake Keegan Schneider in the chat? I did not have. Who did that? Hang on, who did that? Somebody created a fake Keegan Schneider in the chat. That is not me. I did not have Kyle Larson winning, by the way. I did not have Larson winning today. Who did that? I'm putting you in timeout. Keegan Schneider was timed out by Keegan Schneider for 300. That just looks weird. I don't know who did that. There's a bunch of fake accounts. I'll let it slide. You're not faking my account. You're gonna. I can't risk that because you say one profane thing, it's gonna look like I did it. Just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. That's my warning. Whoever was Kyle Busch was also Keegan Schneider. Yeah, well, he can go back to being Kyle Busch. He was. I just noticed that in the chat. I'm trying to run a show here, guys. I'm trying to run a podcast here. We got stuff like that going on. Anyway, where was I at? End of stage two. Here's the finishing results. Kurt Busch was able to hold on, splitting stages with his brother Kyle. Kyle Larson ends up in second. From that restart, again, Larson passed 6 or 7 cars. That is when Larson was determined as the fastest car of the race, in my opinion. Before that, it looked like it might have been Byron or Kyle Busch. Larson didn't really have that track position outside of the first couple laps, and in stage one, it didn't look like he was as fast as the 24 and the 18 who had passed him during the first stage under green. And the track definitely, whether it was a track coming to, I think it was a combination of the track starting to come to Larson, and then another combination where they were working on that 5 team, and they were able to get the car to where they needed by the end of the race. And ultimately, again, he had the fastest car by the end of it. But I think the end of stage 2 on that final restart was really the dictator of, okay, Larson's back at it again. He's the one to look out for as the race went on. So anyway, Kurt Busch P1, Larson P2, Joey Logano finished 3rd in stage 2, Byron 4th, Ryan Blaney 5th, Denny Hamlin 6th, Martin Truex Jr. 7th, Alex Bowman 8th, 9th was Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski rounded out the top 10. In the final stage of the race, the only caution we had for incident was for debris in turn 2. Did NBC show the debris laying on the racetrack, by the way, with that? Because on my end, now the first caution for debris in stage 1, there was debris there. You can see it on the Videotron. The second time around, I didn't see anything. It didn't look like It didn't look like there was debris on the track, but if NBC, if their cameras picked up that okay, there was debris, I'll believe it. But you guys are gonna have to let me know down in the chat if there was actually debris for that last caution because I didn't see it. Granted, obviously that was in between turns 1 and 2, so I'm not gonna see it from my seat. But you couldn't see it on the Videotron at the track, so I don't know if they got a good camera on it, if there was anything. But which kind of stunk because after the green flag pit stops had cycled through, Kyle Busch had actually cycled out as the eventual race leader. There were some guys out there that were staying on as long as they could, trying to catch a caution. Not sure why they did that because they were going to actually lose more spots considering how many cars were still in the lead lap with all the cautions before. We never had a super long green flag run in this race. That start of the final stage was the longest green flag run. That was only about 35 laps. So anyway, they were going to have to pit eventually anyway. I'm not exactly sure why they stayed out as long as they did. I think that hurt them more than it helped them. Regardless of the fact they had the caution, the battle for the eventual race lead between Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson looked like it was going to be the Kyle and Kyle show once again. That's again where you could see Larson had the faster car, especially than Busch at that point in time. He was trying to pass him. Dirty air was definitely playing a factor. Busch did have the top three car on top of it, so that definitely didn't help for Larson. That's where the track position game really played off. It was going to be tough for Kyle Busch to be able to hold on for 30 laps on Kyle Larson. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, he was struggling. Couldn't get around him after 10 laps. We still had about another 18 to go. No, that was when we went green. There was like 22 laps left when the caution had actually come out. So uh, I think he would have gotten around him eventually, but Busch was holding on for all he could, and you never know. I mean, Kyle Busch could have been the driver. Well, I guess he did end up second at the end of it. I guess it didn't cost Kyle Busch anything in the end anyway, but it did bring more drivers back into the race because when you get a late race restart, you never know if you're going to get more. On top of that, obviously, it brings other drivers back into the mix as well, and including one driver that ended up going on to win today's race. And we'll get into that right now. Final restart. Top three. The top three chose the outside lane on the restart with the choose cone. Larson, Kyle Busch, and William. No, it was Larson, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. They were 1, 2, 3. They all chose the outside, leaving Bowman in fourth to say, "Hey, I'll take the inside. I'll restart row one." And if you guys watched the truck race earlier in the day, Kyle Busch had chose the outside on the late race restart. Somebody's car alarm's going off. I would check to see that that's not mine. All right. It wasn't my car alarm. I got scared there for a second. It sounded pretty similar. It was not my car. I don't know if you guys even heard. There was a car alarm going off in the parking lot out there. All right, Kiki Schneider, I'm gonna have to ask you to either go back to the person you were down in the chat. You know who you are. You know who I'm talking about. You're either gonna have to do that, or I'm gonna have to boot you. Sorry, but anyway, what was I? What was I talking? I keep getting interrupted. Like it's been by this fake Keegan Schneider in the chat. I couldn't find my charger. My phone was about to die, and I didn't want to lose the stream because I'm using the hotspot. Then a car alarm goes off at the parking lot outside the hotel. And I wanted to make sure it wasn't mine. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, what a crapshoot of a! This is what happens when we do these streams on the road outside the racetrack. When I'm not in the comfort of my own home, we have these issues. We got the lighting issue. That's the only light that works. Again, that's why it's so dark in here. I don't have the natural light because it's 10:30 at night. All right. So final restart. Alex Bowman got to restart the inside lane. He would have been fourth on the restart. He restarts inside row one. Did exactly what John Hunter Nemechek did. He beat Kyle Busch off the exit of turn one. And I would have thought Kyle Busch would have taken, and I even said this to the guy next to me. I was like, hey, remember in the truck race earlier today, Final restart of the race. Kyle Busch chose the outside. John Hunter Nemechek was on the inside, and he beat him. He flat out beat him through turn one. And I was like, is he going to learn from his mistake, or is it going to happen again? And you never know what could have happened right there. And, well, sure enough, Alex Bowman did beat Kyle Busch off turn one, did the same thing Nemechek did, inside lane. Nobody else went to the... Larson didn't go to the bottom there. Hamlin didn't go to the bottom. Bowman did. And it worked out for him to perfection. He holds on to the race lead until 3 laps to go. Kyle Larson was able to get around him. Larson quickly, by the way, got up to second. 2 laps, he was up to second. Another lap and a half later, he was to the back bumper of Bowman. Could not get around him again in the dirty air, similar to what happened with Busch and Larson before the caution flag had come out for debris. But Larson did finally, after a couple tries getting to the inside, got to the inside one last time, off of turn 1 with 4 laps to go. Side drafted the heck out of him, pulled away, maybe backed out of the gas a little bit, just to keep alongside. Risky, because if you lose the momentum too much, that could have been his last shot to win, knowing there was only 4 to go. But he did it anyway. It was his last chance effort. Maybe the last run he was going to get in the race, and was able to get back alongside and just send it off into turn 2, really backing that corner up by lifting as well. He was really able to hold full throttle, clears Bowman off turn 2. And unlike what Kurt Busch was able to do at the the beginning of stage 3 with the crossover move and at least make a move back to the inside of Larson, he was unable to do that. Larson pulled away to about a 7 or 8 car length lead until the final lap in the final corner. Kyle Larson blows a left front tire. I guess he had the tire going down, going into the corner. Looking at the replay on NBC, it looked like it was going down about 3/4 of the way down the straightaway. By the time they got it in the corner, he just had no chance to save it. It was front tire. It was a tire blown at those high speeds in Pocono. It doesn't matter who it was. Nobody was going to be able to save that race car. A tough break for Kyle Larson. I could not believe what happened. For anybody that was at the racetrack, it was insane. I have never seen anything like that ever. Never seen anything like that ever. Where we saw, we get a hotel room tour. You don't want to see this hotel room. It is dark anyway, so no, you're not going to get a hotel room tour. But anyway, I've never seen anything like that. Probably in person, the closest NASCAR-wise would have been when Denny Hamlin blew a tire last year at Indy while leading. That was shocked. I remember watching that, and it happened. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. But that was like 6 laps to go. And that was after Harvick was kind of keeping the pressure on, and he was just running lap after lap after lap and was probably putting too much heat in the tires. And I think that's what happened to Larson here. He had so much heat in the tires. For about 10 laps before the caution, he was battling Busch super hard. Couldn't get around him. He was battling Bowman the final 16 laps of the race, too. You have about 25 to 30 laps of just pushing that car as hard as you can. He could not save his car. And then even when he got around Bowman, he was pulling away. A couple car lengths a lap there, those final couple laps, he was pulling away from Bowman still. Not wanting to give Bowman another chance. He blows the tire in the final corner. I was going crazy. Because that's the only area of the racetrack I could not see was in that short chute between two. You could see them in the middle of 3 to the exit, all the way down the main straightaway. See them all the way through turn 1, all the way through turn 2. It was just that little bit in the short chute. So I was watching the TV monitor, and you guys are going to see when I upload the finish of that race, as well as the come on, okay, seriously, whoever that is in the chat, come on. I literally just removed. No, I just removed the message. That's what it was. Come on, man. Don't ruin it for everybody. But anyway, I keep getting sidetracked, and I'm sorry, guys. You blame whoever that is in the chat. But anyway, yeah, I couldn't believe it. The crowd was going crazy when that happened. Because, they were going crazy when Larson took the lead, too. Like, Larson, I'll tell you what, I think the backlash he gets on the internet from everybody in the NASCAR YouTube community, it's not backlash against his driving. Everybody can clearly see how much talent the kid's got, but at the same time, it's just monotonous. He wins so much that people are starting to get tired of it. But every track I've gone to, all in the last just over a month, Dover, he dominated, lost to Bowman, dominated the Coke 600 one, dominated Nashville one, dominated. Well, he didn't dominate Pocono, but he had the faster car, and then didn't win it late again in Bowman one. But the driver intros to when he takes the lead, the crowd goes nuts. The live crowds love Kyle Larson. People that go to the racetrack week in, week out, no matter what city, what town, what state they're in, what track they're in, they love Kyle Larson. So when Kyle Larson takes that lead and you have this gravitational pull to people like, oh, let's go, behind Larson, when he passed Bowman, the place was going nuts. 3 to go, pass by, 2 to go, pass by, white flag, final lap, final corner. He blows a tire. And, it was a mix of, oh, my God. People were – the camera shook a little bit, but I still kept the camera on him when it happened. I couldn't believe it. And Bowman crosses the line first. And, people were just, they were cheering just because they had seen something that you may never see again, especially in person. I can't Dale Sr. in the Daytona 500, what was that, 1990? When Derek Cope won it? Blowing a tire going into the final corner. That's the only time I can recall that happening. Final corner, final lap, blown tire cost the leader the win. Bigger magnitude with Dale Sr. because I was in the Daytona 500, not just a random race at Pocono, but still crazy. Crazy. Let me in. Welcome to the stream. Any Kyle Busch fans at Pocono? Oh, yeah. Kyle Busch has a bigger fan base than most people think. Now, when I was first going to races back in 2015, not so much. But over the last couple of years, I've noticed, especially this year, it's like a mix of cheers and boos. It's mostly boos still, live in person. But you can hear some claps and some cheers in there, too, where before, even a few years ago, you couldn't hear that. So, yeah, Rowdy Nation is growing. All right. Let's see what else. Felt like playing Grand Theft Auto. Oh, okay. When the debris was Cody Ware. Okay, so it was debris then. All right. Thanks for clarifying on that. By the way, I had Kyle Busch for the win. Patrick Shadley. Yeah, he was close. Tyler Burbeck, welcome to the stream as well. So yeah, we'll go through the finishing order of the race. We haven't done that yet, but that was my thoughts on the race. I will upload that video tonight. I will work on it tonight. It probably won't upload to early morning hours, but I'm gonna upload the finish of that race, so you guys could see it, what it was like from my view in the grandstands. It was nuts, man. It was nuts. We were either gonna see if Kyle Larson would have made it off that corner perfectly fine, tire didn't blow. We were gonna see NASCAR history, him winning 4 in a row, practically 5 in a row if you include the All-Star race. And only 9 drivers have ever won 4 races in a row. And it had been a while since last time anybody did it. And then, not only that, but the tire blew out on the last lap, last corner. I'm glad I got to see it in person. That's why I love going to the racetrack, because you just never know what's going to happen. And that's what you go for. That's what you go for as a fan. You go there to see a great race and or a memorable finish that you'll never forget. And I will say I will never forget that Pocono finish. And the best part about it, I get to go back to the track again tomorrow and watch another race. Now, from start to finish, this is going to be, again, this was the best Pocono race, in my opinion, since June 2017. Overall, from start to finish, best race. So to say that tomorrow is going to be anywhere close to this one, might not be the case. It might not come anywhere close to it, but I'll still have fun being at the racetrack. And then I still got Road America next week. So, man, keeping the top 6 in Fantasy League is tight. Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to look at that yet. We'll go through the finishing order, and then we'll go through everything fantasy. No power rankings for tonight's video. I wanted to wait till after the second race of the doubleheader because, honestly, the way it looks right now, Alex Bowman was 8 on the power rankings list. That 3rd win this year. Does that move him in the championship four? We'll see how these other guys that were around the championship four perform. Actually, the guys that were ahead of him, the only guy ahead of him that did run well was Truex, it looked like. And he was just off all day for the most part. But yeah, I did not pick Larson to win this week. I did pick Kevin Harvick, and he did get a top 10 like I expected him to, but he never really competed for the win like I had hoped. Alex Bowman with the win. Kyle Busch finishes in second. And actually, Kyle Busch led the most laps today as well, for those of you that didn't know. William Byron finishes third, keeping that strong, consistent season alive. In my opinion, he had one of the top three cars with Busch and Larson. Denny Hamlin, fourth. Ryan Blaney, fifth. Kurt Busch, sixth. Joey Logano, seventh. Kevin Harvick, eighth. Ninth was Kyle Larson. Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 10. We'll take a look at fantasy, and then we'll take a look at how my predictions stacked up, and we'll get out of here for the night. And I can get to uploading that video and go to bed. Because I got to get up. Well, I don't have to get up super early tomorrow, I guess, but I guess to get that podcast in and get my free continental breakfast. Let's go. I'll be at Road America. There you go, Tyler. All right, let's see here. Oh, that's all I got. Fantasy. Let me get the chat on my laptop now while I'm looking at that. So, fantasy. This is going to be the first I've looked at it. Now, again, I was able to get reception at the racetrack, so I had Blaney in my garage to start, and he was having a great day. Again, he was in the top five pretty much all day, especially, not so much in stage one, but he had to start at the rear. It was only 25 laps. So, but yeah, by the time he played that pit strategy out to get up to second place, and then especially at that timely caution, he was able to stay top five the rest of the day. He had probably fourth through sixth place car, finished fifth, so, or fourth rather. Deserving finish there. Fantasy. So I had Kyle Busch in the lineup. He had won stage one, finished second in the race, was top three all day long. Great pick there. He was one of the must-haves as well, and he lived up to the hype on that one. So I nailed that prediction. Another prediction I nailed, I did say Kevin Harvick was going to get a top 10. I know Kevin Harvick, top 10, it's no big deal. Guys, when I make 8 predictions for a race, I need to take every prediction correctly I get right, because the odds of getting all 8 right are pretty slim, but usually I get over half. He did get a top 10 finish. He only scored 6 stage points. Well, 6 stage points that's nothing to scoff at. I mean, it's better than nothing. Yeah, he scored lineup again because he was consistently in the top 10. Denny Hamlin was another must-have. He was the third and final must-have on the team. Hamlin had kind of a quiet but good day. The first 2 stages, he was on the back half of the top 10. And then the final stage, he was on the same strategy as Kyle Busch. And actually came out of the pits third behind Larson. And then he lost a couple spots on that last restart. Again, he had the chance to put himself in the same situation Alex Bowman did. But he chose the outside behind not only Busch, but Larson as well. And I was shocked. Because we had seen Blaney make a couple moves on the inside of the restarts from third earlier in the race. So you'd have to assume front row in the restart, you can at least get top 3. So taking the outside row 3, you're basically restarting 6. There's no way you're going to get back up to third again unless they wreck into turn 1. Ideally, I don't know why Hamlin decided to do that. And that's not on the crew chief. That's not on the spotter. That's on Hamlin. He did finish fourth, top 5 run still at the end of the day. And again, he was in the top 10, scored stage points at both stages. 10 total, so a lot of stage points and a top 5 finish. So I nailed all the must-haves. All 3 of them had great days. As far as the sleeper picks go, Brad Keselowski was a sleeper pick. Got that one correctly. I know Brad Keselowski people may consider he was not a sleeper. I did say he was going to get a top 10, but remember, he's only got 5 top 10s two of them in the last 12 races going into this one today. And he ends up with the top 10, even with damage on the race car. Still slower than the other two Penske cars, but he did end up getting the top 10 nonetheless at the end of the day. 10th place finish, 4 for 4 on the predictions there. Daniel Suarez was the other sleeper pick I had in the 99 for Trackhouse. Scored stage points in stage one. Remember, started eighth, stayed in eighth at the end of the first stage. Was running good there. And then as the day went on, he was slowly starting to slip back a little bit. Finished 13th. Decent day. I said he was going to get a top 10, so I'll stick with my word. I was wrong on Suarez getting the top 10 there. I did not have him in my fantasy lineup, but I was close. I was close to putting him in there over Brad Keselowski. I went with the experience over Suarez. That's the only reason I went with Brad, even though I've been harping on. But Brad was a sleeper pick for me too. Points wise, I only scored 4 more points with Keselowski than what I would have with Suarez. But I also didn't even have Keselowski in my final lineup. I put him in the garage, which was actually a good call too. Again, I put Ryan Blaney was on my fantasy team. I didn't talk about him much in the predictions, but he was on my fantasy team today. I swapped him out with Keselowski before the end of stage 2, before the fantasy team blocks, because I had seen that obviously Blaney was in the top 5 for most of the day. Keselowski had that damage. He was back in traffic. Still rallied to get to top 10, but he was the least scoring driver on my fantasy team. Again, my fantasy team all finished in the top 8. I didn't score too many bonus points. I only scored 5 bonus points for Busch being the highest running Toyota driver. But outside of that, though, pretty good. William Byron was the last driver on my fantasy team, by the way, as well. He got a top 5. So I had, what was that? I had 4 drivers that finished in the top 5 on my fantasy team. 4 drivers, top 5 on my fantasy team. The only driver not in the top 5 was Harvick, finished 8th, and scored 6 stage points. So pretty solid day for the fantasy team today, I do have to say. And even Keselowski, 10th place finish, and he was in my garage. I still have 7 usages out of Keselowski because he's absolutely stunk it up most of the year. I had Chastain as a must-have. It's been extremely hot. I wouldn't put him as a must-have just because of the inconsistency Ganassi has shown this year, but he definitely was on a hot streak. He definitely would have been a good sleeper pick, but I did not pick him for a sleeper pick. And tough break having that issue. I wonder if they're going to have to go to a backup car tomorrow because that's going to hurt. Either way, he's going to have to start at the back regardless. A lot of fast cars at the back of the field for tomorrow's race. Larson, it's going to be, I'll tell you what, in a short race too, it's going to be fun to watch Larson work his way through the field. I'm excited for that. He's going to be hot under the collar. Will his backup car be as strong as his primary car? We'll have to wait and see. So that was my fantasy team. More on the predictions. So far I'm 4 for 5. Eric Almirola was one of my sleeper picks. I said he'd get a top 10. He had top 5s in both races last season, and that is probably the last time I put Almirola as a sleeper pick the rest of the season. I honestly forgot he was in the race. I don't remember really seeing him too much. I know he was actually in the race, but finished 16th. I don't remember him being in the top 10 at all in the race. I was off on that one. And he had a good starting spot, too. I think he started top 10. Or like 11th, or right around there. Because he had that good finish at Nashville last week. And it didn't matter. And this would be why Almirola is 28th in points. Just not a good season. And the race is and I said this in the predictions video, and I still went with Almirola getting this as my sleeper pick. One of my sleeper picks. I only went 1 for 3 in the sleeper picks. But anyway, why I had him on there was because of his Pocono success. The problem is Stuart Haas racing on the 550 tracks has been garbage. Even Harvick is noticeably slower. Like the 550 tracks is what won Harvick all but 2 of his races last season. Of the 9. 7 wins on 550 tracks last year. This year he's got 0. Not only he's got 0, he's running good. He's running like 6th to 10th most of the race, but he's not really competing for wins like we saw today. 6th to 10th most of the race, finished 8th. Not competing for a win, didn't lead any laps. Also, let me see. And then yeah, the rest of the Stuart Haas guys are just like struggling to finish top 15. Chase Briscoe was well outside the top 15 all day, finished 24th. And then we saw Custer getting that accident early, which Custer was actually on the move, but I think that was just more. He had to start at the rear. He was on the move because he was passing all the back markers and probably got to about 20th, and he was probably going to stall out from there. We'll never know for sure, but can't trust those Stuart Haas cars. So if I'm ever going to use a Stuart Haas car as a sleeper pick the rest of the season, it's going to be on a 750 track because they perform better on the 750 tracks. That's where Briscoe got his top 10 on a road course. Almirola's only two top 10s this year came on 750 tracks at Richmond and then last week at Nashville. So if you're looking to start a Stuart Haas car late in the regular season because you don't have too many usages left, make sure it's on a 750 track. Don't do it on a 550 track. I didn't start Almirola, but again, my predictions were for him to finish in the top 10, so I was wrong on that. And then the two don't haves, I was wrong on as well. I said Kurt Busch and Joey Logano were not going to have top 10 runs. Kurt Busch actually competed for the win for most of the day. I was very shocked at that. Kurt Busch only had one top 10 in the last 7 races at Pocono. So look out for Kurt Busch to likely have a good day tomorrow, considering he's going to have the same race car. Invert of the order, he'll start 14th, but he did finish 6th today, led some laps, won a stage as well in there, so big points day for Kurt Busch. He needed that. He came in 24 points below the cutoff line. I believe with that finish and all the stage points, he is above Chris Buescher, if I'm not mistaken, in the points. Let me check the standings real quick. I could be wrong, but I think they don't have the points. Oh, there he goes. Okay, the screen was just not refreshing. Yeah, Kurt Busch is above the cutoff line now. And actually, he's above Austin Dillon, too. No, he's not. He's only 4 points to the good. But he gained 28 points on Chris Buescher today. But he's 4 points to the good on Buescher. And that's a surprising thing, too, and I mentioned in the predictions video. Another reason why I didn't have Kurt Busch there is because with Kurt Busch and Chastain, they've been hot lately with Ganassi. It's been mostly on the 750 tracks, especially Kurt Busch. Like the only races he's ran well this year is the 750. 550 tracks, he's been pretty bad. But today, great run on a track he has not been good at over the last 7 races in his career. Only one top 10 in that stretch. Good day for Kurt Busch. And for Chris Buescher's sake, complete polar opposite. Where he has been great on the 550 tracks this year. It's where he's gotten his 4 top 10s. And then the 750 tracks he struggled. Today was a 550 track, and he was nowhere to be found. He was outside the top 15 most of the day. So very, very weird. Those two just completely flipped roles this week. And it's going to be tough using the same cars tomorrow. It's going to be really, really, really tough. Which, again, we'll go through the predictions tomorrow morning for a live stream. I guess I'll see you guys in like 8 hours or so. Doing it for you guys. Getting up an extra hour early to get the podcast in tomorrow morning just for you guys. Get your fantasy advice in. And then for Joey Logano, he only had 2 top 10s in the last 9 races at Pocono. And he ran top 10 all day. He had a fast car, too. I think he was in the top 4, in my opinion, on who looked like they had the faster car. Because even when he was on older tires compared to everybody else, I know there wasn't a lot of tire wear, but when he got the clean air, he was pulling away from Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch at the time when he had gotten to the lead. So I think he can throw Logano in the mix of having a top 4 race car. Strategy played off late, finished 7th. He was on the same strategy as Kurt Busch, and I think they kind of lost a little bit of track position compared to guys like Hamlin and Kyle Busch who cycle ahead on their strategy. I think they only took 2 tires under the last green flag stop. The other guys took 4. And then guys like Byron, Blaney, Bowman, they all cycled ahead with a 4-tire stop, but they kind of they must have just had faster stops because they pitted after Logano and Busch, and they still were able to cycle ahead of them, even though they were behind them going into the pit stops. It was really weird. Shout out Kurt Busch, top 16 in points. Stay at RCR. Don't go to 2311 or Trackhouse. Yeah. Stay at RCR. You mean stay at Chip Ganassi? Stay at Ganassi? Chip Ganassi's clicking right now. That one team was in the gutter to start the year. Now, again, we still have how many races we got till the playoffs? 8. Yeah, we have 8 races until the playoffs. 7 after tomorrow. I don't. I mean, there are 3 road courses left. That's going to help Kurt Busch because he's good on the 750 track. Same with Chastain. That's where they're outperforming on Buescher. But then again, today was a 550 track and Buescher wasn't there. Stenhouse has been good on the 750 tracks, not the 550. That stayed true today. He was pretty much outside the top 15 all day. He's now 42 points below the cutoff line. Daniel Suarez is slowly climbing. Suarez is just consistent everywhere. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It doesn't matter whether it's a 750 track, a 550 track, road course, short track. Suarez is 10th to 15th every race, which is good enough to get you to the playoffs. He just kind of had bad luck at the very, very beginning of the year. Well, it's a new team. You kind of expect that. But once they got like 7, 8 races into the season, they've been consistently 10 to 15th on the racetrack. And again, he scored stage points early, was in the top 10, still ended up with a 13th place finish. The problem is now that Kurt Busch is ahead of the cutoff line, he's chasing Kurt Busch instead of Chris Buescher now. That's what's going to hurt Suarez. But he is within 1 race. Matty D starting to fall. He had an okay day, but no stage points and ran about 15th most of the day. I think he finished a little bit better than that. See where Matty D finished. Oh no, he finished 32nd. What happened to Benedetto? Oh, he had that. That's right. Yeah, I actually saw that right in front of me. He had that pit road penalty. The gas can left the pit box. The gas can was still in the. I almost said the gas hole. That's not the correct term. The gas can was still plugged into the race car anyway, and the fuel injector, and not the gas hole, the fuel injector, and it left the pit box, so that was a penalty under green. I forgot about that. That's why he finished 32nd. So he lost points there. He was 62 out after the race. He was running about 15, so he probably lost about 15 to 20 points. That was actually big. He could have been closer to about 40 points below the cutoff line, with Buescher having an even worse day. But Buescher still ended up with a better finish than Benedetto because of that. Got to finish these races. That's what's hindered Bubba Wallace this year. That's what's hindered, honestly, the Wood brothers. They picked it up for a little bit middle of the season, but for the most part, the 21, the 23 team are having the same issue where they can't finish races. Yeah, looking at the playoff standings, if there's somebody currently below the cutoff line that I'd have the most faith in moving into the playoffs, would probably be Daniel Suarez. Well, I don't know, because Chastain's only 15 points behind Suarez, and Chastain's had faster race cars recently. But a bad finish today, that's going to give him a bad start tomorrow. The inversion Suarez is going to start 7th tomorrow, so he might get stage points in stage 1 again. That could be big for him. It's going to be tough to catch Kurt Busch, though. I think of all the drivers that were below the cutoff line over the last few weeks going into this race, I had the most faith in Kurt Busch to get in, and now that he's in, it's going to be tough. Tyler Reddick's only 35 points to the good. I mean, I guess he could still fall off. But the Chevys have been fast. Hendrick's been fast, but Chip Ganassi's turned it on lately. And RCR has just been consistent from the start of the year till now. And Reddick in that A team has really turned it on late in the season, too. Not a great day today or last week at Nashville, but up until then, Reddick was getting pretty hot there, too. Yeah, brain freeze, Chip, yeah. For sure. Honestly, I was surprised he went to JTG in the first place. You talk about, oh, wait. Who are you talking about JTG? Stenhouse? Yeah, and he's still, honestly, 18th in points is still good for JTG. It really is. All things considered. I mean, that's like what were they last year? Like Stenhouse finished like 24th in points. He's 6 spots better right now. Like, they're noticeably better. And even Ryan Preece, too. Preece is, well, I guess he's only a couple spots. But he's still a couple spots higher than what he was last year. But again, that's another Chevy team, too. All these Chevy teams are overperforming compared to last year. Hendrick, even though they won the championship, I'd say they're overperforming this year compared to last year. Chip Ganassi Racing didn't start the year that way, but they're starting to get that way right now. And then RCR's been just consistently good from the end of last year to this year. They picked up where they left off, and Daniel Suarez, Trackhouse is not coming out of the gates hot, but for the first year in a new team, them being 19th in points is not bad. I don't think anybody expected them to make the playoffs, and they got a shot here in the final 8 races. And then who else? Yeah, and then JTG Doherty. JTG, specifically Stenhouse. But even Priest has 3 top 10s and 2 top 5s this year, too. So. Yeah, for sure. It's just the Chevy camp. It doesn't matter what team. It's just Chevy. Chevy's clicking on all cylinders. They've got to be sharing information with somebody. You'd have to think. And that, again, people, if they want to speculate that Hendrick Motorsports is cheating, I think you got to look at Chevy as a whole. Because everybody at Chevy is noticeably quicker. It's not just Hendrick Motorsports. Literally every Chevy team. The only Chevy team that isn't overperforming this year is Starcom Racing. I mean, it is. I mean, that's the only. I just realized James Davidson and Rick Ware Racing Equipment is ahead of Quinn Half in points, and James Davidson has ran 6 less races than Quinn Half, and he's 1 point above him. Way to go, James Davidson. If there's one guy I want to pull to have a successful career in his future out of Rick Ware Racing, it would be James Davidson. All right, I've pretty much been rambling here the last couple of minutes. And actually, Almirola moved ahead of Custer in points today. By 1 point, Almirola's ahead of him, even with a 16th place finish. Terrible luck, the 40. It's either the 41 or the 10 or both are wrecking every week. Well, RCR is working with Hendrick Motorsports on engines. That's very true. I mean, maybe them combining notebooks has led to success for the whole Chevy program. That's very well true. Something clicked this offseason, and that probably does have a lot to do with it, honestly. And personnel changes at Hendrick too, but even with the personnel changes, again, it's other teams. It's not just Hendrick. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up here today. We will have a pre-race live stream in the morning as well. Get you geared up predictions wise. I will work on trying to get that video uploaded from the racetrack today. Not the whole vlog, but now that my laptop's working again, I can hopefully get the full vlog, up from Nashville, and then hopefully Pocono throughout the course of the week. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot of vlog videos, and then Road America next week. So I think I'm going to segment it. I'll have the Truck Series highlights in one video. I'll have the Cup Series Race 1 in another video because I took a lot of videos from those 2 races. I'm probably going to do the same tomorrow. And then Xfinity Race 1. And then I think the overall vlog of the actual racetrack, which I thought was great. You guys are I'll walk around more than what I did today and try to get more videos on that. So that and then the second Cup race will all be in one video as well. So, yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We will have better light in the morning. We'll have natural light. Well, same fake light, and then more natural light in the morning. So, yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in here tonight. I had a lot of fun at Pocono. Gets me excited to go back to the track again tomorrow for more racing action. Not quite sure if I'm going to do this kind of a live stream after the race tomorrow or just on Monday when I get home, because I will be driving home from the racetrack partway at least tomorrow night. But if I do pull off in time, we'll have the stream once again. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning.